Hello, good evening to you and a warm welcome to Business Live. Coming up in this bulletin, Ghana losing billions of cedis in revenue due to illegal transfer of gold. As Finance Minister Dr. Ato Forson discloses, 60 tons of gold worth $1.2 billion was smuggled out of Ghana in 2022. We will be having a discussion on this revelation shortly. Also in this bulletin, Tullow, Ghana shuts down Jubilee Field to embark on 16 days maintenance works beginning from today, March 2025, 25th March 2025. We shall be exploring the impact of this move on gas production in the country with an expert. Plus, finance professor at Andrews University, William Prepra, warns current global tariff war is likely to have a negative effect on Ghana's trade surplus.
It may also lead to lower demand for Ghanaian products and also affecting our exports. And when our exports is affected, it may lead to affecting our growth.
We've got details of this and more lined up for you. Please stay. Always a delight you could join me. I am Pius Kojobaka. A look now at our stories. Minister for Finance, Dr. Ato Forson, has revealed that Ghana is losing billions in revenue due to illegal transfer of gold, one of the country's most valuable natural resources. Here's more.
In a post on X by the Finance Minister, Dr. Ato Forson, he highlighted the devastating impact of illicit gold smuggling on the nation's economy, revealing that at the height of the country's economic crisis in 2022, an estimated 60 tons of gold worth around $1.2 billion was smuggled out of the country through illegal channels. In his post, Dr. Forson emphasized the significant economic loss Ghana has endured, questioning the potential economic boost had that gold remained within the country's economy. To tackle this issue, Dr. Forson announced that he had met with officials from the UK-Ghana Gold Programme, a collaboration focused on severing the links between illegal artisanal gold mining and organized crime. The program aims to ensure Ghana benefits fully from its gold resources while also combating the illegal trade that has been detrimental to the country's finances.
All right, so let's have a conversation on the back of this revelation with Dr. Steve Mattel. Pleasure you could join me, sir, on Business Live. $1.2 billion worth of gold was smuggled out of the country in 2022, according to the Finance Minister. And I'm wondering, how could that have happened, and what actually is the problem?
Well, in fact, the figure could be even higher than that. If you take into account how we estimate our domestic gold production. We normally use export data as a proxy for determining our gold production. But if you take into account the fact that a lot of our gold goes across the borders. These days, Lomé has become a prominent route through which gold is exported illegally out of this country. You will call the former vice president, visited the UAE some time ago, and was told that Ghana had exported about 7 billion worth of gold to that country. Now, our data held at the Bank of Ghana in that year suggested that we exported something around 2 billion worth of gold, which leaves about $5 billion worth of gold unaccounted for. And that speaks to the amount of gold that was exported illegally in that year. So this country really is losing a lot of revenue from the small-scale gold sector in particular, for which reason some of us applaud the attempt by government to get a stronger hold on our gold exports by setting up the gold board and making it the sole entity responsible for the export of our gold, while at the same time providing incentives for citizens to report instances of smuggling, whereby those who report or blow the whistle become entitled to some 10% of whatever gold that is seized. In that process, we are hoping that we'll be able to minimize the incidence of gold smuggling.
Even before we get to, the effectiveness of the gold board, like you mentioned, I just want to know where the weakest link is from production to export. Where is the problem? Where can we link that problem?
The problem really has to do with lack of enforcement of our regulations, to the extent that we see a proliferation of foreigners in our small-scale mining sector, when the law really permits only locals to be involved in the small-scale mining. So weak enforcement is largely to account for that. Then there's the issue of we haven't licensed many players, both locals and foreigners, to buy gold and to export, reducing the role of the PMMC just to a government ATEA, in which case we are unable to have a firm control over what leaves our shores. Now, what is worrying is the fact that when these foreigners take the gold out of this country, nothing comes back in terms of returns in forex to show up our local currency. So what the Ghana government is doing currently through the establishment of the gold board is to ensure that every ounce of gold that leaves our shore from the small-scale mining sector comes back as forex to show up government and our local currency.
Dr. Manteo, considering the economic potential of this gold that we are leading, if it had remained within the country's economy, what more for you do you believe government can do to tighten all the loopholes when it comes to the export of these minerals? Yes, you've mentioned about, we enforcing the regulations, etc.
You see, there are gaps in our law that has been capitalized by foreign players in the sector. We legislated that our gold can be exported only to Kotoka International Airport. Just imagine somebody operating a mine far away in Bole, Daklupe, or Tinga, which is close to the Burkinabe border and also the Ivorian border. They won't actually pass their gold through Kotoka. That's a long distance to travel. So they actually work with Burkinabes who actually serve as financiers of the operations of the small-scale miners. And in return, the small-scale miners sell their gold to these Burkinabes and other West African nationals who cross the border with it. Now, this is money that could have helped in terms of domestic revenue mobilization to finance our national development priorities. So to the extent that this goes unchecked, this country is going to lose a lot of revenues that we need badly to finance our country's development.
Dr. Steve Manteo, pleasure you could join me on Business Life. I truly appreciate your inputs at this very moment. Now, in a bid to stabilize the Ghana Cedi, the Bank of Ghana has raised its dollar support for the foreign exchange market amid growing pressures. Here's a report.
The recent developments on the treasury bills market has seen the Ghana cedi come under some pressure on the forex market. This resulted in the local currency's losses being sustained for almost a week. But it now appears the cedi is now responding to this market intervention by the central bank from last week. On the forex market, the cedi has moved from the 16 Ghana cedis 20 pesos range to about 16 Ghana cedis to $1. This the commercial banks link it to improve liquidity on the market. There are strong projections that with government's commitment to contain spending in the coming months and projections that the monetary policy rate could be hiked marginally to deal with the recent development on the treasury bills market, then we could be assured that at least the cedi's marginal stability against the dollar could be sustained in the coming weeks.
Let's now touch on one of our headline stories. Tullow Ghana and its partners have announced a scheduled maintenance shutdown at its Jubilee field later this month. Now, the maintenance activity, which began today, March 25th March 2025, for 16 days, will update or upgrade operations, boost production capacity, and reduce risks in the field. Here's a report.
During the 16-day period, Tullow Ghana will focus on essential repairs and improvements to the Kwame Nkrumah FPSO vessel, including retooling of key equipment, conducting leak tests, and expanding works on the facility to accommodate increased gas exports. The announcement follows the company's recent completion of a 4D seismic survey of the Jubilee and 10 fields to map out future drilling opportunities and secure sustainable resource development. The measures are also designed to extend the operational life of the FPSO and position it for an upcoming mini drilling campaign scheduled for May 2025. To ensure uninterrupted gas supply to the country, the partners have also agreed with government that gas normally exported from the Jubilee field will temporarily be sourced from the 10 fields during the shutdown period.
And I want to bring in the views of Executive Director of the Institute of Energy Security, Nana Musi the 7th. He joins us via Zoom. Grateful, sir, you could join me on Business Live. And how crucial are such maintenance works upstream, you would say? Unmute for me, Nana. Unmute for me, Nana, if you can.
Okay, so as you enumerated yourself, the maintenance of the facility is necessary to enhance operational reliability or efficiency and also to guarantee some production reliability. And this maintenance are done once in a while and are really projected as part of our energy outlook. And so we know very well that this year we need to fix the Jubilee field and the associated vessel. And it's very crucial to oil and natural gas supply reliability.
Within this 16-day period, should we be worried about the impact that would have on the country's gas production capacity?
Of course, we must be concerned because the Jubilee field, although it produces oil, is associated also with natural gas, which is exported to Ato for processing and also directed to power generation. Even though the country may not be as huge as those of the Temple and the Sankofa GM, it still counts as very important in the scheme of things for the question of natural gas supply. Should we lose this supply over the next 16 days, and definitely we'll lose this natural gas supply, we may be compelled to either ask Nigeria to shore up and probably supply more of the natural gas than its use, or we may be compelled to rely on liquid fuels that are quite expensive sometimes. But then, if we have liquid fuel and it's even expensive, It's better than starving the system or the power generation system of fuel and probably resulting in intermittent power supply.
Now, ultimately, how will this maintenance work protect and maintain our field assets and, of course, enhance production efficiency at the Jubilee field?
Of course, already we know very well that the Jubilee field is looking for expansion of the same field so that we can increase our production of crude oil and associated gas. Over the last 4 years, we've seen a decline in oil production in Jubilee. And so maintenance is to ensure that we have enhanced production and some level of reliability when it comes to production of crude and also associated gas. If we are not going to increase, or probably if we delay increasing the volume of crude oil, then of course we are losing revenue here. And if we also not show up the natural gas flow, then of course we'll be compelled to rely on liquid fuels for our power generation. So there's two things here. If it works well, maintenance goes well, and we see an enhancement in production, we are going to see revenue, generation from our own oil production, and we're also going to see some power supply reliability due to natural gas flow enhancements.
And I'm with you, the 7th. Thanks so much for your time here on Business Live. He's the Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, IES, speaking to us on the back of Tullow's planned maintenance shutdown, which of course begins from today to the next 16 days. Now, away from that, finance professor at Andrews University, Williams Prepra, says global tariff war is likely to have negative effects on Ghana's trade surplus. According to him, this is going to affect the global supply chain, posing significant challenges on economies. Speaking to Joy Business, he noted that the country's economic macro management team must be proactive to minimize the impact on Ghana.
Generally, once we see this tariff war, we may see that global trade may reduce, and in our perspective, straight away it may have an impact on our trade account. As the governor mentioned, our trade account balance has been in surplus. If it's not managed well, we may not see that surplus that we have been experiencing. It may also lead to lower demand for Ghanaian products and also affecting our exports. And when our exports is affected, it may lead to affecting our growth projections and also increasing unemployment rates. He already mentioned that we are seeing that it will have an impact on inflation. Another important element with this tariff is that it is going to disrupt the supply chain process in the world. And when supply chains are affected, production may slow down in various countries, and this will lead to the whole economy moving back into a little bit of recession. And that is what we are trying to. Ghana must find a way to manage itself, knowing where to position itself, and also the economic management team should have a look at it and be able to address it.
You're still watching Business Live. We have more stories for you after this break. Welcome back to Business Live. The Energy Commission is renewing calls for owners of commercial buildings and facilities to conduct some rewiring for their facilities within the use of certified engineers. Assistant Manager at the Energy Commission, Stephen Yomo, has been speaking with journalists after the 22nd graduation ceremony for certified electrical wiring professionals in Accra. Here's a report.
The Energy Commission's call to action follows recent fire incidents at major markets nationwide. Certified electrical wiring professionals and inspectors have undergone training to handle wiring projects under strict standards and regulations set by the Energy Commission and stakeholders. According to Stephen Yemo, Assistant Manager at the Energy Commission, owners of commercial facilities wired over 10 years ago must hire electrical professionals for rewiring.
I want to use this opportunity to entreat all facility owners to engage the services of electrical wiring professionals. There are over 17,000 of them. You can use another app that the Energy Commission has developed called the Certified Electrical Wiring GH app. You can use that to locate or identify electricians within your locality. The name is Certified Electrician GH. It's a mobile app. You can get it on Google Store or Apple Store. I also want to use this opportunity to draw the attention of facility owners who have wired their facilities for more than 10 years. The law requires that if you have your facilities wiring is more than 10 years, you need to engage the services of an electrician or of an inspector to inspect the facility to ascertain its condition for continuous usage. Without that, that can result in fire or electrocution or severe shock.
Addressing the graduating student, Acting Executive Secretary of the Energy Commission, Eunice Brichum, said electrical safety is critical and must be prioritized.
Electrical safety is a critical cornerstone of modern development. The systems we design, install, and inspect form the backbone of industries, businesses, and homes. Through them, we enable the lights to shine, machines to operate, and innovations to flourish, all the while ensuring that the risk of harm is minimized. The role of technology in advancing electrical safety in this regard can therefore not be overstated.
About 17,000 electrical installation officers and supervisors have been certified under their program since its establishment.
Minister for Roads and Highways Kwame Agboja has stated that steps have been taken to roll out an automated, robust and efficient road tolls that is devoid of traffic congestions. He made these assertions at the 55th Annual General Meeting and Conference of the Ghana Institution of Engineering. More in this report.
The 55th Annual General Meeting and Conference provided a common platform for all practitioners and affiliates from diverse engineering and related backgrounds to share ideas, experiences, and network. Roads and Highways Minister Kwame Agboja at the event pledged to collaborate with the private sector to help achieve such a feat.
When we are reintroducing the road toll, we intend to build the best possible tolling system in Africa because you exist. We will not accept any solution which is still looking back. We shall not build any impediment on any right of way on any road. We can still toll people without asking them to queue in any traffic. We can still build a tolling system which is fully automated, fair, and the accruals accounted for to the last city without any pilfering or loss of that money. So because you exist, you have the technological know-how, you have the capability, we are committed to building a tolling system that doesn't have an equal on the continent of Africa, and we can do that together.
Minister for Communications Sam George stressed the need for a solution to Ghana's perennial flood challenges.
Engineers faces a bigger burden on us to be able to play a more integral role in fixing the problems of our country and our continent. 2 weeks ago, the President set up a committee to deal with flooding, the perennial flooding of our major cities. And I think that it must be a major thing that the new administration of the Ghana Institute of Engineering must begin to look at. Okay? At first, we used to hear of flooding just in Accra, but over the past few years, Kumasi has been flooded, Takoradi has been flooded. Fundamentally, there's something somewhere that we need to deal with.
President for the Ghana Institution of Engineering, Engineer Kwabena Bimpon, stressed the need for Ghana to invest in infrastructure to create more jobs.
With a view to helping shape the future of human settlements and by extension our cities. Urbanization refers to the increasing population movement from rural areas to urban areas, leading to the growth of cities. This trend has been accelerating globally due to the various factors such as industrialization, economic opportunities, and better access to services and amenities in the urban areas. Urbanization has significant implications for infrastructure, housing, transportation, and the environment. Ghana is rapidly urbanizing, with more than half of its population currently living in urban areas. This has led to challenges such as infrastructure and service backlogs.
The 55th Annual General Meeting and Conference was under the theme Urbanization and Smart Cities, Engineering the Future of Ghana Cities.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Venture Capital and Private Equity Association, Amajampo, is advocating for increased awareness of venture capital for businesses. According to her, the venture capital industry holds significant potential to help businesses expand into other markets. She's been speaking to Joy Business.
I think everyone's very used to taking the bank loan and just paying your debts, and repaying your debts is basically what people are used to in Ghana. But I think it's our job to also increase awareness. And so
how do you hope to do that?
Yeah, through
this platform,
through these kinds of platforms, and really educating people on the opportunity. The option of venture capital is really for those who are mid-sized, high growth, they're earning revenue, they're ready for growth, they want to expand to maybe other markets, and they need the hand-holding and the support to enable them to do that. They're the ones that private equity and venture capital are most poised to support. Yeah, we're looking to advocate for policy change and regulatory change to be more aligned with our competitors in other markets. We want Ghana to be a more attractive destination for funds to set up in Ghana and expand the economy through the real economy, investments in the real economy. And, we have our convenings and trainings that are targeted at our institutional investors. So we do a lot of training and support capacity building of fund managers, of pension fund managers, trustees, to just, educate them as to what the opportunity is and to show them the case studies of our successful funds in Ghana so far.
Thanks so much for watching Business Live for today. I am Pius Kojobaka. We have more stories for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Grateful serving you.